Hello from Lagos and welcome to Talking Development. Today we're looking at one of the most critical sectors for Nigeria's economic transformation, agriculture. Although it employs nearly 1/3 of the country's workforce, the sector faces major challenges, especially limited access to modern farming equipment. In fact, there's only one tractor for every 5,000 farmers in Nigeria, a gap that severely restricts yields, food security, and income opportunities. But innovative digital solutions are helping to close this gap. These are exactly the kinds of solutions the World Bank Group's Agri is advancing. Agri aims to help 300 million smallholders move from subsistence to surplus across the world. I'm delighted today to be joined by Dr. Nneka Nwunwu, the Managing Director for Hello Tractor in Nigeria, an award-winning agri-tech company that connects smallholder farmers with tractor owners through a digital marketplace, much like a ride-hailing service, but for farm equipment. Dr. Nneka, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, I must confess out front, I have been following Hello Tractor for like a decade. I have to admit, this is a really big deal for me to meet you and to talk about this cool company. So can you just start by sharing what made you and your team and your colleagues create this company?
Thank you for the question, and I'll just jump in by saying Hello Tractor was set up to address a really pressing challenge. Smallholder farmers needed mechanized services to enhance productivity. But unfortunately, tractors are expensive, they can't afford them. And why should they buy them? When you aggregate them, you can connect them to a mechanized service provider using technology. And that's really why Hello Tractor was set up, to facilitate the linkage between the smallholder farmers and the mechanized service providers who are oftentimes not very close to them, who oftentimes don't have visibility. As you know, smallholder farmers in Nigeria are very largely, and even in Africa, are very largely fragmented. So this solution was set up to actually make that connection between smallholder farmers and mechanized service providers.
That's excellent, and this is exactly in this AgriConnect initiative we've launched. We've identified, of course, the incredible importance of smallholder farmers for food production around the world and, in fact, food security. So in Nigeria, if we bring it back home a little bit, rural farmers are often also youth. And youth is of course for us also very much in the limelight, because we know the African continent has one of the fastest growing populations. I always talk about the fact that by 2050, 1 in 4 in the world will be an African. And we are going to see maybe 600 million working age people by 2050 looking for a job. So this is so many people. If you think about the opportunities for young people when it comes to agricultural transformation, what do you see the opportunities in and around Hello Tractor to be? Not just tractor provided, tractor taken back. What else are you seeing as part of the sort of value chain and opportunities for young people?
So I always like to tell people that Hello Tractor started off as the Uber for tractors,
Yeah.
but has evolved into we call it an enterprise operating system that supports or facilitates the access to mechanized services. And one of them is actually the workforce layer, which is where youth actually plugs in. You know, when you mechanize a smallholder farmer, or you make mechanization a service, you create a supporting ecosystem. And that supporting ecosystem creates dignified, sustainable jobs for young people, whether as booking agents that book the farmers on the app and connects them to mechanized service providers, or tractor operators who drive the tractors, because oftentimes each tractor needs 2 people driving it, to technicians who maintain these tractors. As you know, one of the biggest problems with providing mechanized services in Nigeria and Africa is the fact that these tractors break down really fast. Access to spare parts and trained personnel to be able to fix those tractors in when they are working on the farms is absent, to be honest. When we create what we like to call that mechanization ecosystem, is to ensure that youth inclusion is also programmed into it through capacity building, through training, and through the creation of pathways. So booking agents don't stop in this ecosystem as booking agents. They go on to be hub managers, or they go on to own tractors. Operators can become fleet managers. They can start managing several tractors. And even the technicians, as the hub ecosystem, which are hubs are physical infrastructures that support the provision of the service, where spare parts, training, and services are domiciled, they're physical infrastructures. These technicians can support several of those hubs, providing maintenance services. So it's an entire ecosystem. The truth about the traditional way of farming with traditional implements is that it's not interesting for young people. They've seen their parents do all this back-breaking work and they're not excited by it. But when you give them a smartphone and an app and you tell them you can book a farmer, you see the joy in their eyes. This is something they want to do. And we are happy to be at the forefront of driving that.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Today I heard someone refer to digital as the fuel for youth. And I think your point that you're introducing different ways of working also enthuses youth and brings them in and brings ideas, of course. You touched on something very important, which is mechanization. Why is mechanization so low in Africa? And why is it so important to address in order to increase productivity, increase food security, and of course by doing this, creating a larger agricultural sector that employs more people and increases and raises incomes?
So it's low for many reasons. When Hello Tractor started in 2014, we thought the reason was access. We went out, did a lot of farmer engagement, educating farmers, and they were excited. And we would book a farmer, and there will be no tractor around to service the farmer. So in 2022, we started supporting with financing tractors. We know we're not going to be able to do it, but we were trying to create a model that would attract other people who have more capital to invest in financing these tractors. For this pay-as-you-go, we target young people, and especially women, and they don't actually have to put down any collateral. The beauty about the model is that it's only when the tractor works that they pay towards ownership. So they earn as that tractor is working. And then supports sort of like, the infrastructure that is required to ensure that those tractors are constantly working, constantly providing service. So for me, when you ask me the question, why is there such a low? People always focus on the financing element, but it's not only financing. There is an ecosystem that needs to be supported to ensure that those services actually get to the farmers that need them.
Very interesting. Another point that came up just today during my visit so far here in Lagos has been exactly that many of the issues that need to be addressed through a systems approach. It's not very singular. I have another question for you. I noted that you started as a dental surgeon.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so how does a person find themselves going from dental surgery to running this amazing company, which is Uber for farmers, with the whole ecosystem and opportunities that you describe?
I found my yearbook from medical school, and when they were asking us where we'd be in 10 years' time, I said I would be in the rural area helping people.
Okay.
And I totally forgot about it until I found the book, and I was like, oh wow, I'm actually doing that. So as I was delivering dental services, I knew I was impacting people one at a time. But I wanted to be able to do this at scale. And so I ventured into international development because for me, that was one of the ways I could impact people on a larger scale. I worked in many sectors. Agriculture kept on coming back to me. Agriculture is the biggest contributor to our GDP and the biggest employer of labor in Nigeria. For Hello Tractor, I met Jihil in 2014 when he came to Nigeria. He was this bright-eyed young American guy who came into Nigeria and said he wanted to change. And I was I thought he was audacious. So I kept in touch over the years, trying to understand what he was doing, how he was going, because I was very interested in what he was doing. And then the opportunity came up in 2022. They needed someone to run the Nigeria office. He reached out to me and asked me, and I was like, fantastic. Like you, I've been following Hello Tractor over the years, and I was really excited about the work that he was doing and the growth that he was seeing and all the impact he was achieving. And so when he asked me to join, it was a no-brainer. What we've been able to work on, what I've been part of for the last 3 years has been totally phenomenal.
What a wonderful story and journey, and it sounds like totally natural what you did. So that's just great. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you so much for being with me. And thank you for joining us today. Here's my take. Innovative digital platforms like Hello Tractor show how technology can break through long-standing barriers in agriculture, from low mechanization to limited market access. This new model is helping farmers across Africa plant faster, cut costs, boost yields, and create real job opportunities for rural youth. At the World Bank Group, we believe that demand-driven private sector solutions like this are essential to transforming agriculture, strengthening food security, and empowering communities. AgriConnect is supporting the infrastructure, the policies, and the financing to help these solutions come to life. Mechanization isn't just about productivity, it's about entrepreneurship, resilience, and unlocking new economic opportunities across Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Talking Development.